Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Oh, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast. It's the only podcast that brings back the Firehouse kitchen table to you. Welcome back. Hey, Mike. Nice to see you.
Hi, Mr. Kugler. Good evening.
How you feeling, buddy?
Well, while I was gone on a small hiatus with the Black Death, I happened to watch a show where they were enjoying the quiet. It was very peaceful. It was very nice, they were saying. I heard crickets. I heard
Wasn't it nice?
It was so nice and calm. It was like, this must be what the audience is looking for. They're looking for a very reserved, very business-like, professional podcast.
Corporate.
Very corporate-like podcast. Right? And there's only one thing I got to say to that. Suck it, Rafano! Welcome back. You forgot my thing, by the way, Mike.
You knew that was coming, Mike, right?
Yeah. I was just bracing myself for impact.
It's the only one in the whole wide world that brings Firehouse Kitchen Table to you. Me, you. Gonzo's off on a cruise somewhere. He might be back. I don't know, but Canada himself with his yellow Speedo. We got a guy from Kansas City. There's hard charges all over this country, hard charges all over the world, bro. Kansas City doesn't work.
You know who's a hard charger? Mikey Cologne stepped in last week, took it by the reins.
Great job, Mike. Thank you. While I was hugging the toilet and rolling around with 102 fever, thank you for stepping in. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Talk to Paulie. You called Paulie, right? I gave him your number.
Paulie Solomon? Yes, he called me. I was very upset. That was a show I was very much looking forward to. I wanted to be like Cal Ripken Jr. Never misses a goddamn show, bro. That guy never missed a game, right? I wanted to be that guy. I was this close to coming on. I was like, "You're not going on. What happens if you throw up?" Right?
What happens if you
that would have actually been great.
Awesome.
Would have been great for content.
Projectile vomit like onto the screen.
Vomit all over the screen.
Kind of like Nickelodeon used to do with the slime.
Yeah.
Mike, I just want to let you know that's the only, outfit you could wear without wearing a suit. I'm just letting you know.
Yep, my Wayne Gretzky
I didn't know there was a dress
1996
code
Rangers jersey.
Oh, there's a dress code for Mike.
Yeah,
Oh.
nice.
If I don't have the sound effect, I would do it. Nobody cares about hockey.
Opposed.
Nobody cares about hockey.
And that includes everyone.
That includes everyone. Did that one go through? Do you, Dick? Because I can't hear it.
Yes, it was muffled.
He's out.
Yeah,
Thank God.
We get it.
My speaker's gone. There it goes. Let me try it again. Whoop, went off again.
You dick.
There you go. Wonderful.
There
All
goes
right.
the charm.
We got some good stuff coming up. I got to tell you one thing, Ruff. I looked at this guy's timeline. He's been in more companies than you have bundles of 20s under your mat, bro. He's been around the world.
I was right this morning. Yesterday I was writing out this thing. I'm like 30, 33, 43. I don't even know what. I was just pulling out numbers. I had to be in every how many companies could they have in Kansas City? You know what I mean? What do they got?
Well, I happen to research that. I'll let you know.
Oh, all right.
There's 7 battalions, 35 stations, 33 engines, 12 trucks. This is
So he was in every company.
Basically, I think he covered the whole gambit. Yeah.
So what do we figure? Either he was
What? Either
fighting
he
with her, kicked out, or what do you think
they
happened?
loved him, or they throwing him out everywhere, or maybe he was an Uber driver, Uber Eats, and he was bringing them lunch or something. I don't know what he was doing.
Oh,
There's 3 rescues and 12 squads, but I really couldn't get a beat on where those were. I didn't see them in some of and 1 hazmat and a partridge.
500,000 people in the city of Kansas City.
Oh,
as a
that's
whole.
right. They
So
won
had a
the
lot of
Super
ground to
Bowl
cover.
too.
They won the Super Bowl. We got to have this guy
Oh,
on.
yeah. He didn't. I don't think he has a jersey on, right? Maybe he's putting it on right now. I don't know. I can't tell.
He got a hat on. I don't know if that's not probably a Kansas City hat. We'll see when we bring him in here. But hey, listen, who am
Dynasty.
Back to back, right?
Mhm.
My back to
3 in
back.
the last 5 years.
1969 and nope.
That kid did pretty good, huh?
What?
The kid,
Who? Mahomes?
Purdy.
Yeah, he played great. Yeah, it wasn't his fault they lost. He played a great game.
Yeah.
Defense just couldn't hold it.
Yeah, they couldn't hold them 3 times in a row at the end.
Had them on a 4th and 1. If they would have stopped them on 4th and 1, they'd be the champs right now.
Be.
There's kids in Somalia wearing 49er Super Bowl champions shirts right now.
Mikey's coming out of nowhere with that one.
You know, it's a different Mike. He doesn't have the suit on. He's not. Hey, nobody wants a professional podcast, Louis.
Nobody.
Somalia. That was
the only worst part was I had 6 boxes. I didn't hit one single 6 boxes. I couldn't get one number. Couldn't get one hit.
Everybody always looking for the 7-0, but now 2-5 wins, right? Or whatever. It's like crazy numbers win.
Yeah, that guy missed that extra point. People were like, "Fuck, man, that was 150."
It got blocked. That changed the game.
Yeah,
that was the extra point that got blocked. I wasn't even paying attention.
It got blocked because they had just scored a touchdown prior to that.
Nobody cares about football.
Or Taylor Swift.
I care about Taylor Swift.
I'm not a big Taylor Swift hater. I could care less, bro.
Nah, listen, I'm not a hater either. I'm just making a joke there. She's fine. She's good. Good role model. Great performer.
I hate quiet podcasts. Hate them. Hate them. All right, Mike, we got to do a commercial.
We do. Let's hear from our friends over at Armor Tough.
Armor Tough Firehouse flooring was recently installed in Station Number 7, the newest of the DeKalb County fire stations in Decatur, Georgia. Meeting Deputy Chief Smith of Support Services, Vince explained that Armor Tough interlocking flooring is the only floor that is tough enough to withstand the abuse of fire apparatus, along with fire personnel at a very busy station. Chief Smith explained, "The flooring in all of our stations over the years gave us multiple problems. We need a floor that can last as long as the walls and the roof. That's why we chose Armor Tough. The installation team came from New Jersey, and in 3 days, they had completed their work without any disruption to our daily operations. We were very impressed with not only the product, but with the workmanship as well. I highly recommend Armor Tough for your station's floor. Call Vince today for a no-obligation quote at 908-917-7697.
That Vince is a good guy. He was across from us at the show, right? Vince, good little fella. Love him. It's like he's like the Joe Pesci of floors. Your mic is muted, Ruff.
I know my phone's going off in the background. I think they're canceling school for tomorrow. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah, my kids, they already got the snow day.
All right.
Yeah, Vince, and you know what, bro? His floors are nice. I was over there messing around with his samples and stuff. He's got some good stuff, quality stuff. Call Vince, will you? All right. Should we get him in here all the way from Kansas City, Ruff?
I'm ready. You ready?
Here I come. They got some crazy little women, and I'm gonna give me
ready?
one. Yeah.
All right, coming to the stage from Kansas City Fire Department, Captain Chad Nading.
Woo! Hey. Oh, wrong one. I said his name wrong when I first met him, so he corrected me immediately. I said,
as he should.
As he should. What kind of hat you got on there, Cap? Was that a Kansas City Fire Department hat?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
E2 embroidery.
E2? What is that? Your side gig?
No, it's a Kansas City Fire. Retired guy owns that. All our stuff's union made.
You can send me that. Plug it. You can send me that check in the mail for the advertisement. All right.
Got it.
Square.
What? Are you a Chiefs fan, Cap?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Oh,
how
nice.
could you not be a Chiefs fan?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Could be a St. Louis fan.
Been here my whole life.
Your
Royals too.
Whole life. What's that?
Kansas City Royal fan too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Good for you.
Definitely.
All right, let's get patriotic before we get lost in the sauce here, Mike.
All right, let's cue it up.
Good old what's his name? He had a velvet voice. Didn't he, Ruff? I spoke to him today.
Good old what's his name? What's his name, man? Rhymes with Smita.
His gun shop is taking off. He's doing good. We wish him the best, Petey. Miss you,
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. All right, Cap, let's get right into it, man.
All right.
Let me just show you guys. You guys think I'm shitting you. That's the guy's timeline here. So let's get right into it. Why you ended? We always go with this little early days of Captain Nadling. Did it again.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah. So tell us how it says here that your dad was a fireman. He's got the coolest nickname, of course. Your cousins and your brother-in-law, right?
Yes. Yep.
All right, so give it to us. Shoot
All
us
over the place. I was born in Kansas City, so my parents are from a small town, El Dorado Springs, Missouri. It's an hour 45 minutes south of here. And when my dad got out of Vietnam, got out of the Army, they moved to Kansas City for work. There's not a lot of work in a small town, so he met a couple of firefighters and thought, that guy can do it.
There he is. Look at those sideburns. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That guy don't look like from the emergency thing. Nice. I love it.
So they nicknamed him Jethro Bodine.
Nice.
He's a hillbilly, He's a country boy.
Looks like he might have killed a couple of Vietnamese too while he was over there.
I called the fire station and I said, "Can I speak to Bill Nading?" And they said, "Who?" Bill Nading. I said, "We don't have Bill Nading, kid." I said, "My father works at that fire station." They said, "Hang on a second." And I could hear him takes the phone away. He said, "There's some kid on the phone says his dad works here. It's a Bill, somebody or other." And somebody goes, "That's Jethro. Jethro Bodine. Hang on a second." Jethro. So I started calling up there. Said, "Can I speak to Bill Nading?" They said, "Who?" Jethro. "Oh yeah, Jethro. Hang on a second." They didn't even know his name. So.
That's awesome. Shit.
We got a lot of guys like that. Guys, I didn't know their name. I can't remember the name. I remember a nickname. Yeah.
Mad Dog or something, right?
Yeah. Time Warp.
Your dad's still around, right?
No, my dad passed away. He had cancer, and Vietnam and firefighting and all that didn't help you out.
Yeah, man.
Agent
Orange and fires don't mix well, bro.
No, he did. He had an Agent Orange cancer that he dealt with years ago, and then over a decade later, he died of melanoma.
That sucks.
So,
he tell you any
Sorry, Cap.
stories while he was over there, like little hand-to-hand combat, or maybe he's cut some.
My dad was smooth. He could get out of all that. He was a radio operator.
Oh, all right.
A signal corps, and he signed up for an extra year so he wouldn't have to go to Vietnam. And the first place they sent him was Vietnam. So
there
he tried to get out of that.
That plan went awry.
It went awry. He told me, he said, "I'm not mad. I wasn't mad about that. He was mad about the extra year in Germany pretending to be a soldier. So that's what bummed him out more than Vietnam."
So he was a fireman, right? He came back. He came up here. He gets on the fire department. What year did your dad get on?
1971.
All right.
And he retired in 99. So I got to run a few calls with him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And he was a character just growing up. He raised me to.
That's Jethro right there.
That's him. Yeah, it's in 1991 right there.
Look at that hair, Coobs.
Yo, you went good, bro. Hair envious. Look at that.
And the stash too. Look, the stash.
Yeah, hey,
did you? Oh shit! You didn't get that gene.
I didn't get it. Yes, me.
Oh, that's cruel.
Skipping them generations. I don't know.
I got a hat. Okay, this is my toupee.
I wasn't sure if that was you. You looked a lot like him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I wanted to be like my dad. I mean, he was a cool guy. He was fun. He played it real cool. He'd set people. All my friends were afraid of him, and I'm like, you're afraid of this guy? And they're like, your dad's scary. Like, nah.
Okay.
He just played that. He'd snow people into thinking he was scary. He wasn't.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I got an older brother.
Didn't want to be on the job?
Nope, he did not. He got hired and said, "I don't want to do that."
Really?
Yep.
Look at that.
And my dad said, "Hey, it ain't for everybody. If you don't want to do it, I don't want you to do it." So,
right.
Your dad's brother was on. You said your uncle was it? Was that his
no,
brother?
not my uncle.
Your cousin was, right?
I got a couple cousins, 2-3 cousins. Steve Young and
football player.
No, definitely not a football player. He's a little short guy.
Yeah.
So was Steve Young. Yeah.
They called him Yosemite Sam. And then I had and he's good fire. And then I had Davey and Rick Stebbins. They're distant cousins.
They still on the job or they're done?
Nope, they're all retired. I was the last one retired. My brother-in-law retired 3 years before me.
Now that's your wife's brother.
My wife's brother. Yeah.
You get to work with him at all?
Yes, I did. Yeah. We brother-in-lawed some people out of spots and
nice.
worked the system, and and got to work together.
Now it's starting to come together, Coob. You see
Yeah,
how that works?
That's Romeo there you
Wait.
called him, right?
What's that?
That's Romeo. Why do you call him Romeo?
That he pulled into the academy the first day. Personalized license plate said Romeo, so that everybody called him Romeo.
God.
Yeah, why don't you just walk in with a bullseye on your back?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he
Start
didn't
throwing them 80s or something.
he had hair down to the middle of his back and everything, but he was we were pizza delivery guys, and one day, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing, man?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go apply for the fire department." He's like, "Oh, I'll go with you." So, are you gonna apply for the fire department? He's like, "No." I'm like, "No." He's like, "No, I'm gonna go along for the ride, buddy. I'll hang out with you for the day." And I'm like, "Well, why don't you want to apply for the fire department?" He goes, "I don't want to be a fireman." I'm like, "Why not?" He's like, "I want to be a computer guy." Like, "Oh, well, you're a pizza delivery guy if you didn't notice, And he's like, I said, "You can be a computer guy," which he did. He's got a computer science degree, everything. That's what his side job was.
Yeah.
And he got hired 3 years before me.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's how it works, right?
Yep.
He has
But
no idea.
he's
Nah,
a
I don't wanna
smart
do that.
guy. He scored number one on his entrance exam.
Oh, one of those.
He had the highest score on the captain's exam, but he was number 3 because seniority points. People
Right.
got him in seniority points. He's a sharp guy.
What did he go to, captain, or did he go to chief? He stayed
Captain. He did 25 years to the day and left. Moved to
Wow.
Florida.
All right, so we got 2 strikes here. You don't get the old man's hair, and your cousin beat you to the job. All right.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah. All my cousins beat me to the job. They all beat me. But yeah. So that's all I ever wanted to do is be a firefighter. I remember bringing a gray card home and gave it to my dad, and he looked at it and said, "Well, fire department will be here for you, son." All right.
That's what we got, son. Hey, somebody in there say, "What does this mean?" Hold on a minute. Let me see what this says here. It said Chad made total C shift.
So you got A, B, and C shift.
Yep.
That's a friend from with my kids and stuff, a Boy Scouts guy, and we always explain to him what A, B, and C shifters are. So birds of a feather flock together, and so personalities, and I have a C shift personality.
Oh, so you're a C shifter.
Yeah, we put the C in chill.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, so they say like A shift is like, to me, it's like the most normal people, normal human beings. They tend to go to A shift. An average guy. I'm not saying anything bad about that. And then the B shifters are all the guys. They're the only ones who know how to do anything right.
oh
know,
no.
they think they're the special forces of the fire department. And then C shift puts the C in chill.
Oh man, I'm a
Nice.
C shifter. Roof. I'm a C shifter.
You're not even anywhere close to a C.
Come on.
You're like a B shifter to me.
I want to be C and chill. Come on.
You are not chill. I'm not chill.
I did all 3 shifts.
Oh, so you were there. You done that. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. What did I write this down? All right, so you get called into the academy in 98?
Yes.
May 4th, 1998.
It's only because they got rid of the testing process, so I was able to slide in.
Where are you in there?
I'm on the 3rd from the right, 4th from the right. I guess 3rd from the right would be a black guy. Front row.
There you go. Next to the chick. That's a chick there, right?
Yeah, that's Linda Gieske. Yeah, I got hair there. That's why you didn't notice me.
Fine, you look, you got hair there. Incognito.
Love those rakes.
The guy right to the right in the back row, right behind me there is my neighbor. He lives right next door to me. His house is right there.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right, so 98. Hey, Roof, either we're getting older because as we're going through these guys' timelines, they're getting on way after us. So I think we're just that's kind of scary.
Pops. A little boppy.
It's scary me. I mean, we're getting older or something. I don't know, man. All right, so you go in the academy, and before you even out, right?
Yeah, West Bottoms.
This is great. This is awesome. Did you see these pictures yet, Roof?
No.
You get so how does this happen? There's a fire. They call it West Bottoms, right? Which is what?
Yeah, it's the river bottoms. It used to be like they stored a lot of stuff there. It's where the cattle would go through. The railroad goes through there, a lot of railroad tracks and stuff. They had to stop the train for that fire.
So it's just a big commercial industrial area.
Yes.
How many buildings total? before you burnt it down?
I don't know how many buildings were there. Like I said, in 1918, they burned 21 of them down. And then there in 98, we burned 15 of them down.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. We did do some good there.
Type 4 construction. So that's my favorite picture right there. Because I remember walking down the street, right down that street right there, go from one end to the other. And the firemen laid out, looked like a war zone. And I just walked around going, oh my gosh, look at this.
So what they had you
This
do?
is what we do? Okay.
They called you from the academy to come in, or how?
No, so on Saturdays they'd send us to the fire stations to do ride-along. So all through the whole 16 weeks, Saturdays you either rode on an ambulance or you went to the fire station and rode on fire.
Wow.
Yeah. So that Saturday morning, I'm driving to the station, and it looked like the state of Kansas was on fire. I was like, oh my gosh, and then when I got there, there's no fire trucks there. So I went inside, and there was some guys. They're like, hey, they got a bus coming to pick us up. And so I said, I'm not waiting for that. Let's get my truck and we'll drive down there. So we rode down like a bunch of yokel jokels in the bed of a pickup truck with our fire gear. Yeah. Jethro's boy going to the big one.
They go Jethro boy.
Throw it to the big one.
We drove down there and parked this truck, and we're like, "Hey, where's we were supposed to be on 6th truck, and where do we go to, meet up with 6th truck?" And they're like, "Oh, it's on the other end." And so we walked right through the middle. I think it's the dumbest thing I did on the fire department ever.
Right.
No accountability. We walked right down the middle in the collapse zone.
I was just saying, don't worry about the collapse zone. Nothing to say.
Yeah. I look back on it now and I think, man,
You got lucky. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it burned up. It looked like a post-apocalyptic movie. Birds.
What was
bursting
going
into
on there?
flames
Was
as they
it
flew.
windy or something? How the hell did it get into 15 buildings?
Just when heavy timber gets going, the heat, radiant heat, they're just too close
Oh,
together.
just radiant heat. Yeah, I got you.
So it caught across the street on fire and two city blocks. So the guy who owned that property, it got deemed a dangerous building. So the city is saying, hey, you got to bring this up to code or tear it down. And if you don't, we're going to bill you for it. And so he went in there and lit that sucker on fire.
Oh, he thought you said burn it down. He didn't know.
Yeah.
He thought you said insurance check. That's what he thought
Yeah,
you said.
there you
I
go.
thought you said unbelievable.
So they just have to keep moving back and do an interior attack to some building and try and put a stop on it, and they'd pull us out, and we'd go to the next building and watch that one burn to the ground. And
Wow. So did you have your gear then? Like were you putting your head this way, like trying to get it?
Oh, yeah, we were going out, and when we'd go out to do on the job training, they'd light houses on fire for us. We'd meet up with the battalion chief and the companies from that battalion, and they'd go in and send the squatters walking down the road and light it on fire. That's how we learned how to fight fire. That was most of our training fires were in vacant structures.
A lot of vacants over there.
Yeah, we got it all over the city.
That was it the day after, right?
So that's the Monday after. Yeah, the chief of the academy was a real good guy, Paul DeWalt.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the people that lit a fire under me about what our job is and what we're supposed to do. I remember that he took us to a vacant house over in northeast area is what we call it. It's a very busy area, and he took us to his house and showed us, these guys put a real good stop on this. The whole roof's gone. And you can go up to the second floor and look at the sky, and I'm sitting here like, they put a stop on this. It was all boarded up, and I said, is this a vacant house? And he's like, yeah. I said, it was all boarded up. There was nothing around it for all the way down this block, this way, all the way this way. And the whole next block over was all gone. It was just grass. Yeah. Right. So one house burning, and they put a stop on it. And I said, hey, what's the deal? What's the deal with them coming in and putting a stop on this thing? Like, wasn't it a boarded up vacant house, and smoke come out of his ears, fire shot out of his eyes, and he took a step forward and started reaching for me. And I was like, what? And he said, and then he kind of grabbed himself and said, okay, I'm going to explain this to you. There's no such thing as a vacant house in Kansas City. You don't know if squatters are in here. You don't know if kids were playing in here and they lit it. You don't know. The guy who lit it could be in here. You don't know. And it's your job. I mean, just the way, like it's your job, you dummy, So, okay. Gotcha.
What does the Gator mean? I saw that in a couple of
a Gator is a real good firefighter. Like a go-getter, a guy who's going to get in there. So like, when wood burns, it's all gatored up.
Yeah.
So the guy's Gator.
Gatored.
Dave don't know what he's talking about. You don't have to listen to
Mikey the Gator Cologne.
Mikey Gator.
I like it.
Yeah. So
maybe
you can't call yourself a Gator. Somebody else has got to say that you're.
Yeah, no, you can't call yourself the Gator. Yeah,
right. No. Now you can call yourself a squirrel. That's the opposite of a Gator.
What's a squirrel now? Runs away from fire?
It's just, you ever seen a squirrel move, Yeah. It's a squirrel, Gators, they walk in, they're smooth. It's another one.
So
Squirrels
if you're a C shifter and a Gator, woohoo, forget about it, bro.
Yeah, laid back, buddy, all the way back.
A C shift Gator.
All the way back. Laid back, baby. All the way back.
Lean back. You do the rock away. Lean back. Yeah. We got to come out with a shirt. Getting Gator.
Go Gators.
Go
Gators. There you go.
Yeah. Ron Guidry may object, but
what happened?
Ron Guidry may object, but we'll square that away with Ron Guidry, the former Yankee pitcher, Louisiana Gator, they used to call him.
I'm messing with you, man.
I was gonna say Louisiana Fire Department. They have gators all over their stuff.
Really? But Gator means like salty, like a
yeah.
Gatored and the gated wood. Love it. All right, so after you burn down 15 buildings, you come out of probie school, right?
Yes. I got one story for the academy.
Go ahead.
We were doing a hose advancement drill. So it's a stupid drill, like you got a captain in the middle and you got two hose lines. It's supposed to be propane tank burning, and everybody going step, and you take a step. They say step, and you take a step. And I guess our strides were longer than the other group, and the person on the nozzle kind of lost the other nozzle, lost control and sprayed us and the captain. Captain was Carolyn Mitchell. And Cap Mitchell gets sprayed or whatever, and she looks at me and says, Nading, get even. And I looked at her and said, what? She says, get even now. And are you sure? She said, when I tell you to get even, you do it now. I'm a captain, and I tell you to do it, you do it now. I said, okay. So I turned around, I just blasted him. Started spraying him back, and then there were other fire companies there helping out with different drills and stuff. And they saw the war start, and they start dragging off lines and giving them to cadets. Say, go get him, kid, go get him. So now we've got water war going on. My man Larry Leggio, who he passed away in a fire. He got up and started deck gunning everybody.
Nice.
And he knocked Carolyn down and rolled her across the drill yard. So finally the water shuts down and everything. We're looking around like, oh, we're done. It was a good time. And then somebody comes over and says, Captain Mitchell wants to talk to you. So I go over there. She's sitting in a chair. Her pants are torn. Her knees are bleeding. Her elbows are bleeding. They're bandaging her up. I say, yes, Captain. She goes, what is wrong with you? I said, what? She goes, what were you thinking? Are you an idiot? I said, you told me to do it. She goes, what? I said, you told me to get even. She goes, even. And I went, oh, that's something different.
Oh, you meant that even.
That's, yeah. Oh, I apologize.
I apologize for the war world.
This guy must be a B shifter, bro. What is this? C shift 10 toes up, man.
10 toes up. My toes are up right now.
That guy must be an A shifter, right, or something? I don't know.
Their feet on the kitchen table, that's a C shifter.
Get even. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so now we come out of probie school.
Yep.
Let me see where we are because this thing is low. Pumper 40A.
Pumper 40A shift.
Single engine house, right?
Yeah, it's north of the river, so it's out of my element. I'm a Southlander, as we say.
Give us a little geographic of Kansas City.
You got 319 square miles. So it's big, and north of the river. So you got the Missouri River flowing through there, going north of downtown, and north of the river is Battalion 103 and 108. That's a whole different world. Guys that live up there, they want to go work at stations up there. Then you've got Midtown. That's where all the busy companies are. That's where the inner city is, right? And
So
then you go
Ghetto in there.
that.
The Ghetto, the ghetto is in that little area.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of spread. It's block by block in Kansas City. So there's areas up north. There's areas way out south. So then you have the Southland, which is 107, Battalion 107 down there, big battalion. And that's where I grew up. I grew up in the Southland. I'm a Southlander.
Where is it? Did it have like a city with high rises and Kansas?
Yeah,
City?
that's in the right just south of the river is downtown Kansas City. That's Battalion 102.
Okay.
And they got the river market where the Italians, the Cosminga roads are.
There was a couple of companies in Little Italy. You guys got a Little Italy over there.
Yeah, so that's the 25s. 20.
Mhm.
So all the fire trucks are red, white, and blue, except for 25s. It's red, white, and green. Yeah.
No way.
Wolfie, me.
It might
Forget
not
about
be
it,
today.
Tootie.
So they're all like chrome bumpers, chrome wheels. Theirs is gold bumper, gold wheels, had gold leaf.
Does it have the pepper hanging from the rearview mirror?
That's on the
For the
west
demons,
side.
For the demons.
That's Station 7's got the Santa Ana skull or whatever.
No, we're talking about the pepper, the little Italian pepper that comes down.
Do they have Mary on the half shell in front of the firehouse?
Mary on the half shell in front of the
Yes,
quarters?
yeah, 25s definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you guys
there's a fountain out there. There's a fountain. Yeah.
And then the station wear is white socks and sandals.
Yeah.
And a garden
yeah.
hose.
And a garden hose.
They're watering the concrete.
Northeast area was a big Italian area back in the day, and that's where Station 23s is. They call that the Avenue, and that's a
without insulting anybody, because you've probably been in every company. What's the busiest company in Kansas City?
So call volume or fires?
Fire.
Fire is it's going to be 18s, 23s, and 24s.
18s. Let me see. Were you on those? 18s, 23s, and 24s.
So I was I don't know. Does it have the floating 104 B shift floater on there? That's my closest claim to fame. There was I was a
Cap,
B shift 104 B shift floater.
When you say 18s, what does that mean? Plural. What is that?
So 18s is possessive to me. So I call it 18s. It's Battalion 104 because it belongs to the chief, but the station belongs to us. It's possessive.
Right. Well, we got something here. Who's that?
That's not Kansas City, Missouri. That's KCK.
Oh, messed up.
I could try.
My bad.
Moving on. Try it again.
Upper 18.
Yeah, so Pupper 18's the cock of the walk. They got a rooster on the side.
I like these guys down there.
Yeah, that's where my dad was. My dad was an 18s guy. And to be honest, when I came out of the academy, man, I really wanted to go to 18s. That's I just, I don't know, wanted to be my dad, I guess.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But then I was at 40s and I got detailed down to the Avenue for a day. So detail is, we have an extra person assigned to every company. So if everybody shows up to work, somebody's on the road. We call that a detail.
Mm-hmm.
So I got detailed down to the Avenue, busy spot, and I got down there and I met a guy named Mickey Machete. I only worked with that guy one day, and he changed my career.
How so?
Wow.
So I get down there. I had a job working security. I worked overnight. I worked from 11 nights to 7 in the morning, and then I go into the fire station and take a nap, or something, whatever. And I only had a few months on the job, so not a good thing for a new guy to be doing. So I got sent down to the big house, and I go in there, and I mean, we had a couple fires that night and everything, but I don't know, I got tired and fell asleep in the chair at the kitchen table or something like that. And he said, "Hey, Ken, I want to talk to you in the office." I go in there and he goes, "Ew, what's wrong with you?" And I'm like, And you got to be more specific, you know, it's a broad subject.
A lot of things wrong with me, you know.
Yeah. So he says, well, you ain't your father.
Oh, that's
Okay.
a gut punch right there.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, okay, I get that. My name's not Bill. I understand. He says, no, man, if you were half your father, you'd be somebody. And I was like, well, man, I'm tired. You know, I got this security job and I work overnight. And he goes, oh, well, that's different. You should have told me that to start with. I said,
See it coming.
okay. He goes, yeah. He goes, so you want to be a security guard? And I'm like, what? He goes, don't let the fire department get in the way of your true calling, buddy. Quit. And I went, no, I want to be a fireman. He said, prove it. You know, what's wrong with you? I'm like, oh, so I quit, you know. I quit the security job. Got it, you know, like, yeah, I wanted to be a firefighter, man. I didn't want to be a security guy. I was just trying to pay some bills, you know.
Yeah, and you don't want to be that kind of firefighter where you get the name falling asleep at the fucking table, man.
Yeah, no. So I was definitely like he lit a fire under me. Like I said, Paul DeWalt lit a fire under me. Mickey Machete lit a fire under me. Several guys, but we'll get to more of them later. So yeah, 40. So I went to 13 truck because I had to get south of the river. That's just, you know,
we're a little more busy down there south of the river.
Yeah, south of the river is more busy. 13 trucks not so much, but you know, your busiest truck company is about as busy as your slow pumper company. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What do truck guys do? Yeah, roll over in bed.
Well, wait a minute. You said that you got the bug for the truck, man. You wanted to be in the truck.
Well, you know, everybody wants to chop stuff and be on a roof, drive a tiller rig, you know, drive the back of the tiller rig. You know,
all right. I'm just saying, you know.
And sleep all night, all at the same time. I mean, come on.
Watch the engine go out and come back and go out and come back and go out. And come
no,
back.
Don't watch. I'm in my bed. I didn't wait. Roll over.
If you're on the watch, you got it.
Listen, before we get a little head,
okay,
we got how do they run? How many guys on a rig in Kansas City?
So when I started, it was 3 guys on a pumper, 4 on a truck, and 4 on a rescue. Now it is 4 on a pumper, 4 on a truck, and 6 on a rescue.
Okay. And how many? You got 3 rescues?
3 rescues. When I started, we had, I don't know, we have 7, 6. I don't know. They were essentially 4 guys in a bread truck.
And what do they now? They have rescue. They have.
They are superheroes. They're special forces hoorah trained. You know, they're urban search and rescue, high angle, swift water, ice,
water, yeah,
confined space.
And then they go. I guess in their sections, they go to every fire in that section, right? They cut.
No, nope,
they don't.
Nah, they try to.
Oh, they try to. I see. We got a special operations lady here, Ruffy. I don't know.
No, you know, if you're sent, you're sent. You know, and yeah.
Maybe if you're sent, they don't go on a working fire, signal of a working fire.
I mean, if it's their fire to go, you know, our rescues, we have rescue in what's called the River Market, which is right in the downtown high rises.
Right.
And it's essentially going to run all the North Plan if any rescues needed up there. But, you know, they'll send 2 truck companies or they'll send a truck company and a rescue. You know, it just depends on how it all falls by who's where and what. You know, what do they use now is a computer-aided dispatch. So it's GPS. There are no districts anymore.
So they're going by where the actual rig is at that time?
Yep.
No way.
Yep, and the computer will bring it up, and the
whoever's closest
dispatchers that
follow
whatever the computer tells them to do.
Wow, that would answer a lot of problems for us back in the day, right?
It probably would have.
We didn't have that back in the day. Back in the day, we were put us on that alarm.
I'm right around the corner. We're on the scene. I'm right around the corner. Yeah, what's your
5 blocks away? We're on the scene.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about the squads? It says 12 squads. What are your squads?
So squads, we have squads and hybrid squads. And what that is so Pumper 33, I was on Pumper 33, and that was a hybrid squad. So what you have is 7 people assigned to the station. You know, 4 of them are going to ride on the fire truck, and 3 of them are going to ride, or 2 of them are going to ride on the ambulance, and 1 of them's down the road. So you have a single role medic on a hybrid squad. We have these guys that are not firefighters; they're just ambulance or.
So the pumper just operates as a pumper, and that's it.
So if it's a squad,
Yeah.
then an actual squad, not a hybrid squad, then you have a medic on the pumper and a medic on the ambulance, and they switch halfway through the shift. They rotate, and then you have an EMT firefighter driving it. So everybody's fire qualified on a squad.
Right, but they're not
squad.
like ours, like we're more like a rescue. We go to the high angle, we go to the collapse, we go to all the fires in our area, operate as a truck and an engine. That's not your squad?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. A squad is essentially a pumper and an ambulance tied together.
Okay, I got you now.
And then they got one captain doing, who's going where.
Gotcha.
The back right before I started, we had squads, which was a driver and a firefighter and a pickup truck with a pump in the bed. Those were squads, like rescue, whatever TV show back in the day. But in '96, they got rid of those and changed them into rescues and stuff like that.
Right.
How big
4
is the
guys in a break
department,
truck.
Cap?
What's
How
that?
many guys? How big is the department?
I think 1,500. When I started, it was 900.
Oh wow! So it's that's unusual because usually departments shrink. And
Right. So I say I worked in the golden era of the Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department. Golden era. When after 9/11 and people were closing stations and reducing manpower, we opened new stations, built new stations, increased manpower from 900 to 1,500, or by 500, and then we brought ambulances in later.
Predicated on what? Like, why would you guys be the guys when everybody else around the country?
We had the greatest chief. Smokey Dyer. I think his name's Richard. Smokey. He was from a suburb fire department. He wrote some NFPA standards. He's a somebody. He's a big leaguer, and he came over. He wrote the standard for minimum staffing. So how can your fire department operate below that?
Right.
So he politicked. He's a politician. He came from another fire department. We brought him in to be chief of our fire department. Everybody was mad and hated it. And then he came in. There he is.
Smokey.
Yep. Smokey Dyer.
You get the name Smokey. You got to be somebody.
I don't know how he got that name. I had a guy I worked with, Bob Wendell. Old Bobby Wendell. He was a character. He was a little crazy. And when everybody's meeting Smokey and he's going around shaking hands, Bob grabs a hold of Smokey's hand and says, Blaze Wendell, nice to meet you. And he holds on to his hand. And Smokey's trying to pull his hand away, and Bob's holding on to it. And he looks over and goes, "What? This guy gets to make up his name? What? This squirrel gets to make up a name? I don't get to make up Blaze."
No.
Just holding on to his hand, wouldn't let him go, squeezing the heck out of him.
These KC guys are pretty funny, Kubi.
I like this guy, bro. Yeah.
If I may ask real quick, we were talking off the air, Cap, about the makeup of Kansas City. You got 500,000 people in Kansas City. Now, when we think of big cities like New York, everybody's on top of everybody. Same thing in Boston, same thing in Chicago. But you get those cities sometimes where even though the population is large, things are a bit more spread out, which kind of impacts to a certain degree how you're going about the work, mostly for the positive. For Kansas City, was that the makeup, large population, but more spread out?
Yeah. What did I say the square footage was? Square miles.
300 and something.
Yeah, 319 square miles. So, yeah, we've got cows. You got to drive by the cows to go to some calls. My dad would call it we got a 2-cigarette run. Smoke two cigarettes on the way there. That's how he gauged it.
Cigarette run. Can you imagine, bro? Like he would be in culture shock if he went down to Brooklyn.
I'm not kidding. I fly into Kansas City when I go to Iowa. I was talking to the captain in the pre-show next week. When you fly into Kansas City Airport, which is a main hub, like you're flying in, there's like deer, like right off the off the runway. Like you're coming down. There's a farm right to the right of the runway. Like you wouldn't even believe, but then you look at Kansas City, like you watch Cops and they're in Kansas City and it's a free for all. You know what I mean? You could be in Brooklyn. You could be in Brooklyn. So I don't know how they get to that you get outside of New York City, you still have like suburbs, and you still have a lot of congestion, and you got to get hours away before you get to Warwick. Thank God, but
I knew that was coming.
yeah,
That's
We got a
what.
Warwick.
see, it's got to be a beautiful place.
There's a Shangri-La everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real nice neighborhood.
Nice curtains over there. Yeah,
Nice
beautiful.
curtains too. Let me get back to your list because we have a long list to get through here. So
Yeah.
how
So
long do you stay at 13A before you go to 36C here?
as soon as I got my bid,
What does that mean?
when you go to a position, you bid a spot, seniority bid. So
We have heard that. Yeah.
back then, every other month. Now it's every month. Between the 1st and the 7th of the month, they put a list of all the vacancies. So by seniority, you can choose to transfer. Once you transfer into that spot, it's yours till you leave. You don't have to leave. You can stay forever if that's what you want to do, or you get promoted or whatever. And but you have to stay a year, unless it's a rescue. Rescue has I think a 3-year commitment. Academy has a 2-year commitment. Hazmat has 2 years. Airport has 2 years.
And you have one hazmat too, right? I think you have one hazmat company.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, and it's got a pumper tied to it. That's a sweet spot right there. You get to spend a month on a busy pumper in 104 running with those 18s, 23s, and 24s running fires, and then they switch you over to hazmat for a month, and you get to take a nap.
Really?
So
Hazmat
those guys,
that ain't a bad gig.
they spend 6 months out of the year on a busy pumper and 6 months out of the year on the hazmat unit. In that 6 months that they're on that bid, they're fighting more fire than most guys in Kansas City are. So
They get specialty pay for the hazmat?
yes, oh yeah.
Oh, that's a roofie.
All those time commitments get 5%, 3%, 8%, whatever it is.
12.
10. We got one that's got 10%.
Yeah.
The Academy.
Wow. So you bid for a spot. You got to stay in that spot for a year.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
If do you lose your points if you say
I was
this
just gonna
spot
say
isn't
that,
for me?
yeah.
What do you mean points?
Like
It's seniority.
keep-
You can
No.
keep going. Your seniority keeps building no matter what.
Right. Yep. Yeah. As long as you're paying in that pension, it keeps building.
So then around, let's say, 11 months and 28 days, you start getting the itch again. And you look at the next spot.
13 Truck is on the east side. It's over by Arrowhead Stadium and which is Gia Stadium, whatever they call it now, and Kauffman Stadium or whatever they call that now, Royal Stadium. It's right over by the stadiums. They're in the same parking lot together, and that's the east side of town, East Side Pigsty, and it was a crappy station as far as how it was built. It was a prefabricated building it's made out of steel, asbestos, and aluminum.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Homie.
It was
Really
a temporary building they built in 1950 something, and it they just closed it in 2011 or whatever. So I was in this really tight quarter station and not close to my house. It was just the first company I could get south of the river.
Right.
And then I went to 36s next. That if my truck broke down, I could roll it down the hill and make it to the station.
Is that close? They doing any work though?
Yeah, 36s did okay. It's still not in a really bad part of town. I got to rotate my neck. It's starting to hurt. So
yeah, man.
But right there when I got to 36s, I met a guy named Larry Young, and he's you call him a legend. I think he's not doing really well health wise right now because he had some issues with going out there in 9/11 and working on the rubble on the pile. So he's got respiratory problems. And, he was our rescue chief, who's special operations chief before he retired. But Larry was an intense person. He's a bee shifter, and he lit a fire under me too. Because here, I'm C shift. I'm laid back.
Putting the C in chill.
Yeah, so I go take a safety nap. Because a well-rested firefighter is a safe and efficient firefighter.
That slogan goes around the country, bro.
That's I heard that from a guy named Walter Bell. I'll get into Walter later. I love that guy. But I'm laying there taking a safety nap, and next thing I know, here's Larry standing on the bed, get her, So, but he was training. That guy got me prepared to operate a fire truck because he was a driver at the time. He was an FAO, and he taught me what he knew about pumping. And if it wasn't for him, there'd been a lot of situations I got into I wouldn't have known what to do. But Larry left no stone unturned. So I learned a lot from him, and I learned about intensity. And we were playing catch with softball, getting ready for the interdepartment league we had back then. And he threw so hard. I'm like, dude, why are you throwing so hard? He threw so hard it split. I bought a brand new glove, split the glove right down the middle. Like can you? He's like, yeah. I need more creatine. Chill, bro,
chill, dude.
So,
what was his name?
Larry Young.
Larry.
Lawrence.
My name is
Lawrence
Larry.
Arabia.
Everybody calls me Psycho. Any of you homos call me Larry, and I'll kill you.
Lighten up, Francis.
Lighten up, Larry.
So we'd play ping pong, and he'd win something, and he'd say Navy train, or whatever. He'd be all super intense. So I would be playing ping pong, and I'd spike the ball on him, and he'd get mad, like offended, like how dare you spike on me, whatever. And I'd wait, and if I could get it back to back, 2 spikes right in a row, he'd do it whack, and I'd say, Davey, train that. And all he could see was red. He couldn't see that little ball the rest of the shift. I'd win every game after that. I just had to get him mad. And then he'd break his paddle, and he'd come in the next day with a new paddle. This is it.
Davey, train that, bitch.
But he was a firefighting son. I mean, golly, that guy, go-getter. Definitely.
What was your main bread and butter structures over there? Like, what did you have mostly that you would go to? What types of fires?
Like in the whole city in general?
Yeah.
It depends on where you're at. So if you're in what we call Midtown area, you're talking balloon frame construction. That's 18s, 23s, 17s. They're running balloon frame, 2.5-story balloon frame, Ivanhoe, North Hyde Park, Herrick neighborhoods. Then you go a little further south, you get in like bungalows, shotgun bungalows and airplane bungalows. And all those houses are over 100 years old that we're talking about. So they're all lab and plaster and all that. And then you go further south, the Southland where I grew up, most of that stuff was built in the after the 60s. So it was all farmland until the 60s. So it's all sheetrock and
right.
Yeah,
a lot of commercial too, or any
there's lots
multiple
of
dwellings.
Areas.
Multiple dwellings or mostly private residence?
I would say majority of what I dealt with was private residence, but we have apartment complexes all over the place, garden apartments, and dealing with breezeways, and they're all over the place. It's like I said, it's block by block. One block, it's got mansions and lawyers living in it. The next block over is where the transvestites are prostitutes. So,
really?
Yeah. Huh. It's 43rd and Truce. Those are dudes. Just so you know.
Just so you know.
So, somebody keeps asking about Buckethead. I don't know what that means.
That was my nickname. A guy Bucket Mouth gave me that name.
Bucket Mouth gave you the name Buckethead?
Chad Edlin. Yeah, Chad Edlin. I worked with him at 17s. Great roof guy. He was a driver, drove 2-truck. He was one of the best roof operators I ever saw. We're a roof ventilating fire department, which, Lou, we can get into that. I can explain that a little better to you, why we do it, When you got that balloon construction and you're going up into that finished attic, that 3rd floor, there's not windows to ventilate, not big enough windows. It's hot up there. And you got the knee walls. So you got 2 triangles down low and you got a triangle up top with fire rolling through it, cooking the daylights out of you. And when them guys pop that hole, it's like somebody turned on the air conditioning. So, and Chad was one of the best at it. And one day he's got a tiny little pinhead, my helmet is a size medium. All right. Now, my brother-in-law, I had to buy him an extra large. I had to find some, super gigantic alien head. Yeah. Helmet for him.
Alien head.
That's like an 8 head, man. That's not a 4 head.
That's like Swicky.
He's a very smart guy. He's got to have a big brain.
I was just going to say, he's got a lot of brains up there, man.
But Edlin, who was a crash derby guy.
Yeah.
He had a little pinhead, so he didn't have a big brain. And he put my hat on one day. He said, "Yeah, bucket head." That stuff. Decades. Bucket head.
Buckethead.
So,
Yeah.
Cap, did you ever hear that?
Later,
you
was
ever hear
Captain Buckethead.
Did you ever hear the
Buckethead,
line?
yeah.
What would you rather have, $1 million or Captain Nading's helmet full of nickels?
Helmet full of nickels. What are you talking about? That's like it's like, do you want $1 million or do you want a penny a day compounded for?
That's it, right?
Yeah.
I'll take the penny.
That guy must have asked. I can't tell you how many times. Ask him about Buckethead. Ask him
Yeah,
about
oh yeah, I knew that was coming. I was ready for it.
He was ready for the
Buckethead,
Buckethead.
the turtle.
The turtle?
Angry turtle. Yeah, I got kyphosis, so I got kind of like a little curve in the back, and I always tell everybody that's where I keep my anger. Like you want me to get it out? It's back there.
Oh, don't let the turtle out. Don't let it out, bro. You don't want to see it.
Yeah, Captain Smiles. That's what they call me at the academy because I'm laughing. We got to laugh.
Absolutely.
I like laughing.
All right, so now you go back to a pumper 30B.
Yeah, that's
your first busy company. It says
there you go. Yeah,
busy.
I worked for a guy they called Hitler. Oh yeah,
a lot of nicknames over there, man.
Oh yeah, Hitler. Somebody tried to shoot him in the station one time. They missed though. I can't remember the name of the guy who tried to shoot him.
Like for real?
Like
for real? They tried to shoot him?
Oh yeah. There's bullet holes down. That was at Station 29. That was before my time, but everybody talked about how this guy tried to shoot him one time. But he was a screamer. Like he would. We had a fire one time, and we pull up, and it was like a brush fire, bush burning in a vacant lot. And he hops off in this little hill, kind of. Some of them houses are kind of up. They got steps in the yard, but the house has been gone for who knows how long. So it's just grass. And he runs up that little hill and turns around and says, "Come on, bring the booster," and takes off running. So I go to the back of the rig. Well, you can't drag a booster around the back of the rig. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to feed it to you.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't go that way. So you got to go way back,
right?
Bring enough hose around to get it up there if you're doing it by yourself. And we're a three-man rig. And Joe Bunn, dig it. That's what we call him. Dig it, man. Dig it. Joe Bunn. I'm waiting on Joe, but Joe Bunn's getting in pump gear doing his thing. So I'm trying to get this. And so as I'm going away from the captain, he's screaming more, "Come on!" Like, oh God. I'm trying to get that hose up there. So here comes dig it, bud. Dig it, young man. I got you. So he's pulling, and I'm going through the vacant lot. It's dusk. So, it's getting kind of hard to see. And I hit a clothesline. Clothesline myself, full run. And I'm laying on the ground. And he comes over.
Missing with that head, bro.
He leans over and he goes. Yeah. Right with my neck, not my head. So, I'm laying there trying to breathe. And he leans over and says, "You're going to have to calm down. You're going to have a heart attack." I was like that, Does this mean we're done? Yeah.
It's a little top heavy there, huh, Kubi?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. He went right over.
That's freaking awesome. That's the term clothesline.
Yeah.
So
define busy. You said your first busy company.
Yeah, so we ran lots of fires. We ran shootings 2 at a time. It was my dad was the captain there at one time. So Joe Diggett Bunn drove my dad when my dad was captain there.
That's pretty cool.
And so when my dad left, that's when Mike Herrick was his name. He passed away. He's older. Would have been. He was still kind of young. He had some drinking problems, so he didn't live to be too old. But Mike Herrick was his name, and he was an interesting captain to work for. But I loved working there. Dirty 30s, the flop house. I like that place.
The dirty.
Yeah.
So how long do you stay there then? Because you're off.
Not long. Yeah, that's the outside of 30s right there. Now it's a squad, so they got an ambulance in there. See, look at that beautiful station.
That's what 290's kitchen looks like.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
Flop house.
See the Christmas lights, Coop? All different sizes. I love it.
Yeah, I think that picture was taken in June.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's what it
That's
looked
our
like.
refrigerator. That's a see. There's a lock on the side. I can tell you more about refrigerators later.
Was that for the A, B, and C shift?
Yeah, each shift had its own refrigerator, and then there was a refrigerator in the in the kitchen for everybody. You bring your groceries in, you could put it in the kitchen, but like that's out on the apparatus floor. So somebody ordered that fridge for the station, and then the shift I was on stole that fridge, put a lock on it, and put our crappy fridge in the kitchen. And so somebody painted polka dots all over it. And yeah, that's where that came from. But and those are all people that worked at 30s. We went to the guy in the middle's wedding right there. That's Brett Braun. And we went to his wedding, and you see my loud suit jacket there. And right behind me to the right there is Steve Underhill. He's wearing a blue sharkskin suit. And then you got the guy right to the right of the groom there is Ryan Howler, and he's wearing a silver sharkskin suit.
It looks like he's got a mullet.
Ryan's got a little hair, yeah. And then
you got dig it on the bottom?
Huh?
Dig it. You gotta dig it.
No, that's Marcus Stubbs. That's my guy right there. That's one of my main that's my classmate. I got 13 truck because I had to call him and beg him not to bid it. And he was like, "Are you kidding?" He worked at the airport. He's like, "Man, I've been assigned to the airport. That's like a death sentence, man. Like, like I'm not even a firefighter. We don't even go on calls. I'm stuck up here, at ARF, At least you're not at ARF, I'm like, man, I gotta go, because the captain hated me because of my dad, but that's a whole nother deal. And so Marcus pulled his bid so I could get it because he was like one spot ahead of me.
That's a good buddy, man.
He was a good buddy, and I'll get to why I moved some more later with Marcus. But so we ended up working together at 30s. So because I go back to 30s a couple other times later, but yeah. Anyway, we wore those loud suits, and the people putting on the wedding came and asked us why we were there. They thought we were wedding crashers because we went and bought the most ridiculous suits we could come up with.
Nice. And your wife went with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? She allowed that? She had no.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good for her. So she gets it.
Well, what are you gonna do?
As much as any wife would.
Cap, you know what I want to ask you? Do a lot of guys, is that like a job-wide thing? The guys bounce around a lot because of the way the system is set up? No.
Nope. So generally, I think guys they get comfortable. They like who they work with, and all that stuff, and they get comfortable. And then to move, it's like,
yeah, right. I got it.
And man, I liked everybody, and I had no problem moving. Hey guys, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go over here. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, well, hey, don't get mad. I didn't.
People take it personal.
I'm not dead. I'm just going over here for.
They take it personal if you leave their place.
They do take it personal. They do take it personal. So that's why I was always real, forthcoming about it. I didn't sit there and guys will bid out and not say nothing until the bid results come out, and then they'll call in sick and be gone. They don't want to face the music or whatever. I don't mind the music. You can yell at me. I worked for Hitler. You can yell at me.
Somebody tried to shoot that motherfucker, man.
He can yell at you about the salt and pepper shaker. He say, "Are you stupid?" I said, "We went over this last day, Cap. We already decided I was stupid. Why are you asking me again?" And he's just like,
So I mean, it seems like a great place, but why you go to 29 then?
Okay, so 29s is a double engine house. So my brother-in-law calls me up and says, "Hey, you want to go to 29s?" My first reaction was like, "No, I don't want to go to 29s." I'm running the exact same calls. 30s is right next. It's the next station south to 29s. They run the same calls, same fires. You go to the same fires with the 29s, 30s, and 29s. So who's first in this time? Who's second in?
Yeah.
Depends on who's going where. But a double engine house. He's like, "Betty, this is a double engine house. You got somebody to play cards with. You don't have Diggett in the back." He sat in the back and watched Andy Griffith's show every day and laughed like it was the first time he ever saw that episode. And he'd seen every episode. And then Mike was in his office. So I'm sitting there at the station on watch at 30s, and this guy comes in, and he's Travis Williams. He's a retired battalion chief now. He's a good guy. And Travis is he's a B shifter, special operations B shifter kind of guy. And he comes in and he's like, "Hey man, there's a eagle stuck in the ice down at the lake. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, I saved it for you. I said, you saved it for us? He goes, yeah, I saved all the glory for you. There's a bunch of people down there. I told them I'm going to go get my guys. So you guys can go down there and be heroes and save a bald eagle. I'm like, oh, okay. So he leaves. He goes, I'll find out how it went tomorrow. And he leaves. So I go knock on Mike's door, and there's some expletives and what do you want? He flings that door. What do you want? I'm like, there's eagle lake. What? Spit it out. Lake of the Wood. There's an eagle. I ain't no duck rescuer. And he shut the door.
Duck rescue.
I went back to watch TV. All right, whatever. So the next day in the morning, here comes Travis, he's kind of Travis, a little hothead. He comes in. He's like, "Hey man, what happened with that eagle?" I said, "I ain't no duck rescue." He threw his towel. We're gonna fight. And Mike walked in the door and he's like, "You're no duck rescue." I mean, they were screaming at each other. It was. I just sit back
for an eagle.
Now, how many runs are you guys going on in these places?
I would say 30s. Back then, runs are kind of, I don't know. It's like they keep going up. They are they going to send you on a bunch of useless calls or not and pad your numbers, or I don't know.
Right.
But back in the day, 2,500, 3,000. And then when I went to 17 Pumper, that was the busiest company in the city at the time, and that was 4,000 calls a year. Now we got guys all over doing 5,000 all over the place. It's just how what they send you on. We used to not go on sick calls. I got a headache. We didn't run those back in the day.
Yeah. Same with New York now.
Yeah. So did your brother-in-law wind up going there with you, the 29s?
So my brother-in-law traded me. He talked me into it. And I said, okay. So I went to 29s. He went to 30s.
Oh, he wanted to swap with you.
The trade is that's a swap. So he was getting promoted.
Oh, okay.
He went down to 30s for about 2 months and got promoted driver. Went all the way up to the airport. And he was up at the airport for 4 or 5 months. And 11 truck at 29s came open on the bid sheet. So he calls down. He called down there and said, "Hey man, can I get that spot?" And I want to bid that spot. And they laughed at him. Yeah, go ahead, kill a few trees, waste your time, and hung up on him. So he bid it. Well, everybody heard that there was a guy bidding that spot, right? Everybody knew a guy, Matt Newton, who's a deputy chief now, was bidding that spot. So nobody bid it. They said, "Oh, Matt's bidding it. He's got me beat." So everybody just kind of peeled off, and just didn't put in for it. They always say, if you want it, put in for it. Who cares?
You never know. Yeah.
You never know. So my brother-in-law put in for it. Well, they changed the paperwork. They said, we're not accepting the old forms anymore. You got to do it on this form.
And the guy never did it.
No, he turned in the wrong form. They threw his bid out.
That's how it happens.
So told him to go dip his knuckles. So Rob got the spot. So and Matt was the driver on the pumper. So Rob shows up, hey. And Matt's on the pumper like, But Matt got the truck later. He went to C shift on the truck, and he got the truck spot. But Rob,
you wound up going there, didn't you?
So I don't think I was even on there a year on the pumper, and 11 truck came open, and I just put it for and got it. It's like, oh. Guys, I'm going to A shift on the truck, and then B shift guys were, you traitor, and all that stuff. I'm like, hey, I got truck envy. I don't know what to tell you. I like taking naps and sleeping at night. Sounds good. But truck 11 was a tiller rig, 99 E1 tiller, and man, what a fun apparatus to drive, work on. It's a tiller rig. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, man. And there's only how many tillers are there? 3, right? Only 3 tillers in the.
Yeah, there were more tillers. So this is how we operate. We say, what we really need? We've got a bunch of high rises over here. We need a bucket. You might have to rescue people. We need a bucket to pull people out of these high rises. So they get a bucket. Then the next time they go to purchase an apparatus, they say, what we really need? We need a tiller rig. It's really tight around these streets. So they get a tiller rig. They wear that tiller rig out, and they're getting ready to buy the next apparatus. Say, what we really need? We need a bucket because we got all these high rises. So it was a straight rig. It was a tiller rig. It was a straight rig. That's a 2 truck. When I came on, 2 truck was a straight rig. Then they bought a tiller rig. Now it's a straight rig. So, yeah, they bounce back and forth on some of them. But the 3 that are tiller rigs have always been tiller rigs, and I know. Now everything else is a bucket.
Well, and they're riding with 4 now, you said, right?
Yeah, pumpers and trucks 4.
Both riding with 4.
Yep.
So, again, now from 11, are they doing work? I mean, they must be doing.
Yeah, 11 truck does work, definitely. But, it's like I can tell you this. In the 4 years I worked on 11 truck, I never used anything bigger than a 16-foot scaler to get on a roof. So,
how do they break up the positions there on the truck?
So you got the truck captain and the firefighter that rides behind the truck captain. They go inside and do search and rescue. They do overhaul. They go with the hand line generally and do you go to the fire and you search your way back out. Right.
A forced entry too.
They do forced entry. Yep. And then if it's a tiller rig, it's the 2 drivers. If it's a straight rig, it's the driver and the firefighter riding behind the driver. They go on the roof and do ventilation. They ladders. If it's a 2-story, you gotta have ladder. You gotta ladder the building. Secondary means of egress.
Right.
So, and that's the same thing when you ladder the roof. You gotta have 2 ladders going to the roof
And then who does all the horizontal venting? The inside team.
What's horizontal venting? I'm just kidding.
I almost had me.
We do vertical, man. We're vertical vents all the way. Yeah, open that roof up. If it's on fire, we're chopping a hole in the roof. Now, if you have a fire on the first floor, you're not going to chop a hole in the roof, right? Unless it's a balloon construction, and you're going to have a fire on that 3rd floor. But if you're out south and you're running a house built in 75. You're not going to open the roof, Yeah, there's my 2 truck guys right there. That's Jimmy Baker in the bucket. And I think he's got Chad Edlin with him. Possibly. I couldn't quite see who that other person was, but that's definitely Jimmy. But when you go to chop that hole, you're not going to chop a hole in the roof if it's not burning directly below the roof.
Right. So give us some of your best fire stories. Because somebody in the chat is saying that you got good fire stories.
I got good fire stories. Right
here, this guy.
Oh yeah, dang. He was out of this last class. Yeah, I'll tell you about the first time I got the nozzle. That was with the Dig It. I was on 30 pumper, and Dig It was riding out as captain. A guy named Scott Carlos was driving. He was the other firefighter. There were only 2 firefighters on the rig at that time, and so when the captain's off, the driver would be the captain, and then one of us would drive. So once you had 6 months on the job, you could drive an apparatus. Now it's a year. You got to have a year on to drive. You got to have 2 seconds on to drive an ambulance, but you got to have a year on to drive a fire truck. So we'd go to we're going to the auto parts store because I'm working on my brakes. At the station, they're trying to put new brakes on my car, and we had to go to the auto parts store, which was over by Station 29, right down the street, and we're in front of Station 29 at the street light.
No.
And regular comes in right behind Station 29. And Scott starts driving that way. I'm getting my gear on. Joe's going, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm going to the fire." And he's, "What fire?" Like he didn't hear nothing, or I don't know what. But he's like, "What are you doing, young man?" Like, "What are you doing?" "No, we're going to the fire. It's right here." And I mean, we were 3 blocks from it. So we pull up, and 29s wasn't even in the house. They were off checking fire hydrants. And for some reason in our city, when you check fire hydrants, they send you clear to somebody else's
district.
It
seems like you always, same with us.
Why don't we check the fire hydrants next to the state? Who's checking those?
I don't understand.
Yeah, those are ones I want to check the ones I'm using.
Yeah. No, they send you up to somebody else's district to check the fire hydrant. So they were off somewhere doing something. So we pull up in front of this house, and it was rocking and rolling. I mean, it had heavy smoke coming from it. And I opened up the door to the rig and to reach over and grab that pre-connect. We use a 1 3/4 pre-connect, 200-foot cross lays with it wasn't fully involved. That's a fully involved house. This house was not fully involved. So it was really burning in the back. So I pulled that hand line off with adjustable fog nozzle. I'm an adjustable fog nozzle guy, so hammer that if you'd like.
I'm sure you're gonna get it.
You can throw the smoothbore in the trash.
Bring it on.
I said,
Bring it on.
Oh, the old smooth bore in the trash. He's a fog.
yeah. Why? We have one, and we take it off every day and put the right nozzle in. But so we pulled the 1 3/4. It works. Which is better? I don't know. They both work. The fire goes out. Wet stuff on red stuff.
Yep.
So I'm clearing that hose bed, and I look over, and here comes Joe's boots. So he didn't have any gear on. He's in that tight little captain's seat, and he was kind of a heavy fella, so he couldn't get his, So he's starting to get his stuff on, and he says, "Go get it, young man. Dig it. I'll be at the door pulling. Holler if you need anything." And I'm like, "All right." So I get up to the front porch, and there's these two guys out in the front yard slapping each other, like what in the world's going on? And here comes the guy riding out as chief for the day, Chris Wallace. That we called him the Ninja. So the Ninja shows up. And he comes over, looks, he's looking down the side of the house. He goes, "Hey, it's in the back to the right. You got it?" I said, "All right, I'll go get it." I never had the nozzle of the fire before. So I take off into this house with the charge line, bleed it off, get ready to go. And because you don't take an uncharged line into a burning building, don't do it. Bleed that sucker off. Make sure you got water established before you go inside. And I'm going through that front living room, and you can't see nothing. And I hear this crash, and I feel something. I'm like, "What was that?" So I'm busting around in this place, and then all of a sudden it got hot, like super hot. And I didn't know it at the time because I was young and dumb, but the living room lit up. So they've got vent ignition, essentially. Lights up. So the front living room's lit up, and somebody came in behind me with that second backup hand line, was putting out the front living room. So that heat, I'm trapped between the fire room and the room burning behind me that I don't even know is burning because all I can see is black. And I start doing a 360, because I don't know what to do. I'm spinning around like, do I go forward? Do I go backwards? Do I get out of here? And then all of a sudden it got cooler, and a door opened up, and I could see some guy had forced like a kitchen door off to the side. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not dying. And I like it's boring. I shot down the hallway to this bedroom. And I get back there, and I'm at the door, and I look in, and the entire room looks like it's made of fire. I can see the chest of drawers,
chair on fire, right? Yeah, everything's on fire, perfectly on fire,
floors.
right? Yeah.
It looks like it's all made of fire. The whole room's rolling, and I'm stuck right there at the door, and I'm just looking in there, and then this guy Charlie Sanders. They called him Haji. Haji comes up, he gets in my ear, and he says, "If you don't do it, I will." And I ran right into the room. So I was told, my dad told me, "Hey, when the time comes, get all the way in the room. Don't stay in the hallway because that's the flue. It's going to be hot. You got to get past the doorway. Go in about 3 feet. Get off to the side of the doorway because all that heat's venting out that door. Get in the room a little bit, and it'll be cooler, and the fire's going to be out like that. Because if you're outside of the room, you can't hit the entire room. Right. But if you get all the way in the room, you can hit the entire thing. So you're like that little sprinkler guy, in the yard. You go in the room, put the floor out, squat down on the floor, and start Z pattern, O pattern, whoop-de-doo, whip that sucker.
Whip it around, baby.
So, and then my dad always told me, he said, take that solid stream and go across about 4 feet until you hear glass breaking in. Vent it yourself because there ain't gonna be no truck guy up there in front of you. So you got to do your own ventilation with the hose line, and that's essentially what he had. They cut a roof they cut the roof open after I had that sucker out. But man, I was a lobster after that. Got it all put out, and it's like, wow, it was a really good fire, and I got my first, good room and contents and everything. And when the smoke cleared, the whole room was full of Gator. Gay porn and dildos.
Yummy.
Gay porn, dildos. Nice. Maybe that's why they were laughing on the porch.
They were slapping each other with the hot mops.
Yeah. So it was like, oh my God. So I guess one guy was smoking in bed and the house on fire, and the other guy was mad at him for it. So they.
So when you came out, did the guy say, "Dig it"?
Dig it. Good job, young man. Dig it.
Dig it.
Yeah.
Like
Joe Dig It Bun. Yeah.
Joe Dig It.
He drove the fire truck like this. I think I'm sick, you know. I don't know what. Wait, you just hold it, man. Just hold it. What do you get?
He had rhythm, bro. He had some rhythm.
He did. I didn't have the rhythm. I was like
For the sunset, you know.
I was like Steve Martin, you know. I just needed a Twinkie and.
All right, before we go to Pump a 17C, give us a truck story. Give us a fire truck story.
Oh, golly, that was a crazy time. 4 years of playing Halo and fighting fires, man. That was when Halo was big. But worked with some really good guys there. We had Jerry Baton and Shane Russell were the drivers. Crazy Shane and what do you call Jerry? They called him Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong and Crazy Shane, in Shane in the membrane. And we had Ziggy, a guy named Chris Zaglinski. I mean, it's not a truck fire story for this, but it makes Ziggy invited me and my wife to he said, "Hey, we're going to have a pig roast." I said, "A pig roast?" He goes, "Yeah, my family every year we have a pig roast. You know, would you like to come?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, we'll come to your pig roast." And I didn't think about it. Ziggy's a Catholic guy. He's got 6 kids of his own. You know, he's from a big family. And I figured it's going to be a big deal. We pull up. There's people in vests directing parking to this house. Right? There's signs and everything, and we get there, and they've got a beer truck. They've got a live band playing, and there's a few thousand people.
Wow.
And he told me, I said, "What is it?" He goes, "Well, it's like a potluck." So I brought a dish. I'm standing with this dish looking at the 2,000 people like, what in the world is this? Ziggy, have a little heads up, you know? I'm like, "Oh, yeah, this is my brother's house." And they had a little bit of land, but they're still in town. It was on this dead end. They had a little land. And, oh, yeah. We
guys
had
in the vest parking this way.
We had I got to drive a lot on 11 truck, so I got to do a lot of roof work. And we had a fire, and I'm going up on the roof, and there was snow. And I get up there, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, there's 4 inches of snow up on this roof." So I'm doing the shuffle. You know, I'm straddled like a riding the horse, you know, and I'm sliding along this snow, and here comes Ziggy stepping over the top of me, and he's just walking right down that. I'm like, "I am not doing that, you crazy son. What in the world?" Like, yeah, no problem. I'm like, shit. You know, he's going to slide right off. But that guy had some cat-like balance.
And big balls.
Well, I was going to say balls were on either side of the ridge there, so it's keeping this balance there. I don't know what the hell's going on.
So we're up there. We get the whole chop. The sun's coming up. You know, and that's just having a fire with the sun coming up, you know, that early morning where you get to go home smelling like you done something.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, I'm home. You know,
yeah.
I'm a working guy. You know?
So you and Ziggy had a little moment there.
We had a moment. We watched the sun come up after we chopped the hole and watched it. When we're in it's a low income area or whatever. The sun comes up and I look over next door and it's like, whoa. The guy had a full court basketball court with bleachers in his backyard.
Nice.
You know, big privacy fence around it. When we looked at the front, we had a call there later. They called because they had an animal in the ductwork, like a cat or something got in the ductwork. So they called us there, and we went up there, and like this real nice walkway up to the front, and then soapstone on either side said Pookie and Tay. I mean, this guy had the setup. We went inside. They had like a darker carpet going around everywhere and a lighter carpet in the middle, all cut in perfect, stainless steel, everything. I mean, this house was like right there in the middle.
They know how to do it, bro.
He knew what he was doing.
Hey, listen, Cap, just for the record, I want to say this. I'm not opposed to going on a peaked roof. I am opposed to have a 1 or a half story building and have 16 guys on the roof when there's nothing else being done.
We always said 4. 4 is the most. So 2 from the 2 truck companies. Yeah, so you got 2 guys go up there, they ladder go up. The other 2 guys need to bring a different ladder and go up a different way. And then
you're saying you said chopping. What do you mean chopping a hole?
We use axes. Starts every time, never chokes in the smoke.
Never. Nice. This guy's got more lines than
got fishing boat,
Disney, bro.
Starts every time. Now I tell you what, they called us Chainsaw 11. because we were the only company using chainsaws, and we drilled on it. And Rescue 9 would drill. They'd get up on roofs and use chainsaws too, but no other truck company was using chainsaw. They made fun of us, called us Chainsaw 11.
Not anymore though.
No, everybody uses chainsaws now because
right.
why wouldn't you? You know.
Yeah, right.
But axes start every time.
Start every time. They don't choke in the smoke.
They don't choke in the smoke. You do.
That on a shirt.
Yeah, put that on. Put a big axe and say that doesn't choke in the smoke, bro.
Well, somebody just said it, and that was always my gripe, was that every time I see these guys on the peak, they're venting. Yeah, I get it. You need vertical vent, but every window in the house is still intact, right? So to me, that doesn't. There's a lot of other stuff that could be going on, you know.
So we only break the windows in the fire room. You're supposed to. I mean, the first fire I went to on a truck company, I was following this guy, and I just heard glass breaking everywhere. Every window I went to in that house was busted. Every window in the house. Well, if you ventilate behind the hand line, you know, you can draw.
That's what we want. We want to see
it. Then you draw it where you don't want it to be. You know, if you're trying to search and rescue a victim, some guy breaks this window and draws all the fire back there and lights everybody up.
Yeah, I got it.
That's not.
No, I'm saying if you're on the first floor, if the fire's on the first floor and you guys are going in the second floor, you know, and you think that's where the bedrooms are, then you got to take glass, right? If you're searching for victims, that's what we say. You know, you venting for life. If it's 3:00 in the morning, you think people are up there. The fire's not up there, but you should be taking glass, as opposed to, you know, have 16 guys on the roof cutting a peak roof for me, right?
Yeah. If the fire's on the first floor, we're not cutting a hole in the roof.
Oh, all right.
No. Yeah, not going to cut a hole in the roof unless that fire is in the attic or on that second floor. So we're aiming. You got to be able to read it. You want to hit right over the seat of the fire. You want to pop that ceiling, have fire shoot out of it. Otherwise, if just
I got you.
Out,
most of the videos I see is not that.
Right. Yeah,
you know,
they're doing it on the opposite side of the house.
Yeah, they're doing it like the fire's venting already through the roof, and they're cutting like.
Oh, that I see that. And I'm like, what is that guy doing? What, does he not see the fire blow? The job's already done. The fire already
done. Well, that's my point. Is that there's no and that it's not one guy. It's like 7 guys. And then if you know, as the guy's taking the picture, every window on the first floor is intact, you know? So I'm just saying, get the hell in there. You know, sometimes it's a shed fire, for God's sakes, and they got guys on the roof, you know what I mean? So that's all. I'm not opposed to guys, you know.
You're not explain, Lucy.
I don't have to explain to nobody, Lucy.
We got to move along because we got a lot of companies to go. We're run out of time. So
I was breaking the windows. So I go into this house fire, and later on, I'm on 13 truck. Back on 13 truck, we had a house fire, and I go in. The fire's in the basement, and I went in there. It was hot. I didn't know where the fire was. I just went into the house. I had smoke coming out of it, and I was young enough not to be able to read it, or I'm just going along doing whatever it is I think we're supposed to be doing, which apparently was break all the windows. And I got in there. I got low, and it was hotter, and I just started opening windows. I'm like, I'll open it up. Right. And I get to the big picture window in the front of the house that they say never break. And I thought, I broke it. I broke every window in that house but one.
Good.
Right. And some other guy broke that window. And the chief
saw him.
And I was standing right behind the chief as he was chewing this guy out and just up there inside down there. I didn't say nothing. I was like,
yeah, bro. Zip it.
Okay. So we're what, on 11 truck?
Now we're pump of 17. We're going.
I'm getting ready. Yeah. So when I was on 11 truck, I mean, I love truck work. I did it, and then it was like, I met this guy named Greg Breedlove, and Greg's like, "Hey man, you need to go to 17 pumper." And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "It's just, I'm talking to you. It just seems like something you should do. It's the busiest company in the city, and I think you should do it." He goes, "I just got promoted off of it. It's my spot coming up, and you should go call Kevin Williams and ask him about it." And I went and saw Kevin Williams. I'm like, oh, he was a youth leader when I was a kid. I was in it wasn't Boy Scouts, but something like Boy Scouts, and he was one of the youth leaders. Like, oh, I know this guy. Like, wow. And he's like, yeah, come on over. And I don't even think I got that. I think a guy named Vince Liberto got that spot, and then I got the next one. So they opened up because it was a 3 three-man company. So they had 4 assigned, and they opened up a 5th person, and I got the 5th guy spot. So 2 months later. So Vince is out of my class. Vince Liberto and I were both on 17 pumper together with Frankie Paggi. Yep. On 7, we were the firefighters. Then we had Mad Mike Mike Van Horn, not Mad Mike. It's a different guy, but Mike Van Horn and Kay Willie.
And that's the
Kevin
busiest
Williams.
company in the city?
Huh?
That's the busiest company in the city?
At that time, it was the busiest company in the city. They ran 4,000 calls a year, and the next busiest was 3,000. So we were outrunning people by 1,000 calls. But the reason for that was the rescues. So the rescues were reformed and changed, and they made the big, they went from a 4-man company of guys with axes and lath hooks on a bread truck to the big rescues, like a heavy rescue, super train. And they were doing the first ever super training. So those guys would drill all day long and work on their rescue training and then come back and sleep all night. So they pulled them off of EMS calls and car wrecks and all that stuff. And essentially all they ran were rescue related calls and structure fires. And so nice. We took their, 1,000 EMS calls a year.
Ooh.
So that made us do 4,000 and 18 pumper. They were running quite a bit more too at the time.
So I'm sure you weren't that angry about that.
What's that?
I said, I'm sure you weren't angry about that.
No, and that's where I got Buckethead name. Old Buckethead.
Buckethead. And they had 2 truck in there with them too, right?
Yeah, 2 truck. The Deuce, always rolling.
The Deuce.
And Rescue 31.
And Rescue 31. How long are you there for? Because now we're going to Pumper 43A.
So I went to 43s to study for the captain's test.
It must have been a slower house then.
But so it went from 4,000 calls a year to 340.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
So right in the books you got.
I got in the books, and I realized I read them all in 2 months and said, oh, what in the world have I done? I should have just read it where I was at. Yeah, it was like, man. But we had 130 years on Pumper 43. Captain was Dave Young, Uncle Dave. So I had a cousin, Steve. Dave was his uncle. So the only young I was related to was Stevie. All the other, because I'm related on his mom's side.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with Uncle Dave, Richard Paul. I called him the Intimidator. He drove that fire truck like, oh my gosh, that guy could, in the snow, I'd hold hands with the other firefighter. Let's pray. Yeah. Like, it's been a nice life, I hope we make it.
300 runs, man, from 4,000 to 300.
Well, that's why the old timers go there, right? I mean, they go in there to go out the pasture kind of thing.
Yeah.
They already did that time,
And then I had Blaze Wendell and Steve Grimes. So we're all out there together. 130 years on the job. You needed to put a handicap sticker on the back of that sucker. I was the only one who could pick anything up. Me and Steve. Steve could do some work, but yeah. And so I studied and did that, and it had some. It was tragic. Richard Paul died in front of us. We had to do CPR on him, and we were at a doctor's appointment, like physicals, yearly physicals, and
no way.
Put him on the treadmill, and he had a heart attack and died.
Oh man,
we watched him go into cardiac arrest and do all that. It was it was bad. I was riding out as captain that day, so our captain was off, and I had to deal with it. But we had a guy, Alex Vaughn. He's another captain. He was there. He was injured, and he was there doing physical therapy at the doctor's office, and he stepped up. He's a good guy, and he's a man of action. Alex Vaughn definitely is, and he stepped in there. And I think Vince Trombino and Grayson Murph was with us that day too, because But anyway,
okay. So you took the test and then you went back to Pumper 17.
I went back to 17 Pumper until I got promoted. So I got promoted off of 17 Pumper to captain.
Oh, so you went back to 17.
Yep, as a firefighter.
As a firefighter. Then you get promoted to captain in 2012.
Yep,
And you
and I
become
was
a floater.
Floater. You flush it, but it won't go down.
Weren't you a floater already? I mean, for crying out loud, you were bouncing around anyway.
Yeah. So no problem, no big deal.
You're used to it.
Being a floating captain is horrible. Everybody hates to see you coming, and they love to see you go. Their captain's off for the day, and they're like, "Oh, I get to ride out, and make extra money, and the cat's away, the mice are going to play." And then the substitute teacher shows up and says, no.
Nah.
And they're like, I'm like, hey, man, like, I didn't choose to come here. You know what I mean? Go talk to the chief, You want to cry and whine? You want to call up Tom Byrne and go cry to him? Go ahead. And if you know Tom Byrne was, you would not call him and cry to him. So he'd nip that in the bud.
How long did you have to float for?
I only floated for 5 months, and that's rare. Usually guys float for a couple years, at least a year. But
you go back to
promotions,
the same firehouse again.
right back to 17 pumper. A guy named Mike Van Horn, he was the driver. The first time I was there, Mike was the driver. He got promoted captain and ended up the captain on 17 pumper because K. Willie took care of him, bumped him over there from the truck. So now K. Willie, the wizard, I like to call him, the wizard, was on the truck, and Mike Van Horn was on the pumper. And then they placed me, once you come off the floater list, you get placed in a spot, goes up for seniority bid, and they placed me at the fire academy, and Mike Van Horn bumped me to 17 pumper. Right back.
But you went to, how'd you get to 2 truck then? It says you went to 2 truck, the Deuce.
I was only on 17 pumper for a minute because the way things were supposed to go was because K. Willie wanted his spot back. So I traded K. Willie, gave him pumper back because he wanted it.
Right.
Because he was just there.
Truck?
What's that?
2 truck?
Yeah,
I believe we only have that one.
Him up on
We do have a photo of you at a box alarm as a new captain. We can pull that up real quick if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, so on that one, I'm on 10 truck that day. That's the 104 floater spot out at Station 23. I was on 10 truck that day with Robbie Dill was my firefighter.
Are you carrying that tools? What is that?
Yeah, that's a lath hook.
A what?
Lath hook.
So the captain carries a hook?
Yeah, a hook and an axe.
Wow. Look at that.
Hey,
Whoa.
Cap, so is that like a normal thing, how that house is up the hill like that?
No. No, if you look, I can't remember what he listed that. That's on a YouTube video. We had to climb a rock wall to get to that sucker.
Not fun.
Don't we have a video?
Yeah, if you want to play it.
Well, what the heck are we doing?
The video, I don't think I'm in that. That's just Robbie Dill doing his thing, I think, is the video you got.
How long is that video, Mike?
It's about 6 minutes, but we can give commentary over
Do
it.
2 minutes. I just want to see
minutes
it has fires.
All right, yeah, here we go.
Can you turn that volume up?
There's the garage there.
Let's do that now. Hold on a second.
There's Robbie talking.
It's all
It's
the
a
way
garage
up. It's
bar,
maxed
yeah.
out.
Inside of the house.
So we got long lath hooks, we got short lath hooks. I had to take that long one because that's what Robbie handed me when we got off the rig. But I like the shorter, all metal. I didn't really care for the fiberglass lath hooks. I like the shorter 5-foot lath hook. And everybody's like, well, you can't reach a 10-foot ceiling with it. I'm like, well, I didn't want to reach one.
So that you're in where? Truck 2 at this point?
When this is all going, I don't know when this is going on for sure.
Oh, okay. But you're the captain.
Not on this fire.
Oh.
This is a different one. Robbie posted a lot of videos, a lot of fires. They went to lots of fires, So, but you look back and you can see the yard. This is typical of a smaller home, See everybody's trying to climb over all the trash in the yard.
Looks like a shithole there, man.
Yeah.
Look at the garbage coming out of the windows like a Collier's mansion or something.
What are we doing?
Let me know when you want to stop it, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know which would be a better video.
Are there more fires on here? Other fires in this one?
Oh yeah, Robbie Dill posted a bunch of fires about
Go forward a little, Mike. See if there's other
10
jobs.
years.
All right, let me see if there's any other. Oh, let's go by the.
No, it's probably the same fire.
Watch this for a second here.
Hey!
Sounds like me.
Yo!
Hey, what you gonna do with that line again? I'm gonna fuck you up.
I love it.
I don't know. I think it's the car was on fire in there on this video, but yeah, Robbie. So right when I got promoted captain and was floating there, Robbie had a camera and he was filming stuff, and we've got a deal that says you can't film. You know,
Yeah.
that's a fire. That's
Kansas City
whatever.
fire.
Yeah. You're not supposed to be filming anything, and you know, I remember a guy brought a camera in the station one time, and this captain Ryan Harris said, "Hey man, let's not do the camera thing." And the guy's like, "Why not?" He goes, "Because I don't want to film us messing up.
Yeah.
You know, like let's not film us
Get enough
screwing
all
up,
these
you know?"
fuckers have cell phones. They'll catch you anyway. You know?
Yeah, and the guy was like, "No, it'll be all right." And then that night we got a fire, and the guy fell through the porch. You know, like so in the video, I saw the video, but he's up on the front porch. They can't make entry because the floor's like burned out, but it's got a storm shelter underneath the porch that they're all standing on. And he says, "Hey, I think we need to get off this porch." And everybody's like, whatever. And he's like, "I think we need to get off this porch." He said about 3 times, and then whirr, all you see is orange and black, and in the darkness you hear him say, "I knew that was going to happen." and you don't even realize it, but he had a piece of rebarb impaled through his leg and everything.
Oh shit!
All he says is, "I didn't know that was going to. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen." You know, that was Lauren Starr who fell through there.
There's other videos on the channel, including one that's a pretty good house fire. Depends on if you guys want to see it. It's about 11 minutes, but we can fast forward through it if you want.
Okay, throw it up quick. See if I like to see fire.
Yep.
I've watched all the Robbie Dill videos for sure. I mean, you know, what KCFD guy hasn't? But
Buff.
What do they call buff for you?
what do we call a buff?
Whacker?
Well, we don't really have buffs like I think what you're talking about.
Right, we got it.
Oh, this was the one with I don't know if I was a district safety officer on this one. Because when you're floating, you know you do different things all the time. This is one like all right, turn the siren off. The whole porch is like not even there. It had climb over it, and it was some
You'll see it
issues
momentarily.
there. What's that?
No, just the guys. You'll see it momentarily.
What company is this, Cap?
So this is 23's 10
Everybody
truck.
we know.
Yeah.
Oh, the house is all the way in the
Primarily
back. Huh?
station 23. And generally 23s, they have some bigger houses. This is probably going a little further. I don't remember, I'm not a big remember all the numbers and addresses and all that stuff. I move on in life, I guess,
Yep.
But
That's
like
forward a little, Mike.
23s, 18s, 24s.
Hold on.
It's already venting out the back, no need to go on the roof. They'll all jam in the front door.
That never
So
happens in New York.
if you don't have enough water, we'll put enough guys in there to displace all the oxygen, and it goes out.
How many guys could you fit in there? There you go. Take some rest. I like that guy with the helmet. Cam.
Yeah, Robbie. Yeah.
Take it all. Take that one right there. Take it.
Robbie would push some people in there. Like you take it too long. Let's go.
Mike,
Man up. Robbie will go in the window probably. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
said.
19. Shut the music off on this in case we get banged for that. We might get banged for that. That's not a what do you call
Yeah,
it?
They want to strike or a claim. A claim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, Robbie didn't do anything legal.
Yeah.
So, but where were we? Where am I?
We're going to
Is that you?
7.
Is this me?
Now you
You're
get the
captain.
spot. Now you go the 7 truck, pumping 19.
Yeah. So going back to 2 truck was the most difficult time of my career. I had my driver was Bill Dady, and he had just traded a guy and then had a heart attack and died. He was 46 years old.
Oh,
And Billy was a big presence. I called him the mayor. You know, every shift has a mayor or a Jedi council or somebody who's running the stuff behind the scenes. And Billy was the mayor. I always said when he was leaving, I was like, "Are you going to pass the mayor hat on? How's that work? Or do you just rule by proxy, like from your prison cell?" And but yeah, he had a heart attack and died at 46 years old.
Oh,
And that hit everybody really hard. And then not much longer after that, my firefighter Anthony Bruno, who I love this kid. He was a good guy, but he got shot and killed by a police officer on his wedding night.
what?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that sent me into a spiral, and had a pretty bad addiction at that time, an opioid addiction. So I was dealing with all that stuff. And then when, tell you the truth, God got a hold of me. It's like, make a choice. You want to live or die? Because if you don't quit doing what you're doing, you're going to die. You can't, take 180 pain pills in a week or two and keep living.
How did you get started on it, Cap?
The first time I got a hold of opioids was a root canal. And I took them pills and I thought, man, this will work. I took all of them. So, and then back in the day, you could go to the doctor and you could say, hey, can I get a prescription for pain management? And they'd look at you like, what? Like back pain, can I get something for pain management? So,
Yeah, I would give it to you.
And they'd say, well, what do you do for a living? I'm a firefighter. So, how many you want? Say, how many can I get? 60? I'll take them. Give me all.
Would you have to switch doctors after a while, or you just
No, yeah, I did other means to find and do all that stuff, just becomes a network, and you start.
And what was the defining moment? What was the one thing that said, where you said, that's it?
Honestly, a voice from God. I really heard God telling me, you need to make your choice now, buddy.
Get off the pot.
Yep. If you want to live, you got to die to yourself, or if you want to live for yourself, you're going to die. So I said, I don't want to die of opioids, and so.
Cap, without getting too personal, how was your home life at that point? Was it?
I thought it was great. My wife will tell you it wasn't so great.
Yeah.
So when I went to my wife and I said, hey, I got a drug addiction.
Did she know, or
she's like I'm surprising her, and she's like, really? No kidding. What do you think? I'm stupid? No. My wife's biologist, chemistry degree, very smart lady and very wonderful. So she looked at me and said, I said, I'll do anything to quit. I'll do anything. What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? How do you want me to stand? I got to surrender authority to a whole bunch of other people because I'm not doing good with it. And she said, I want you to quit the fire department. I said, okay, I will resign. And she said, okay, I believe you, but don't resign. So that was a test.
That you passed.
That I passed. I said, yeah, I'll quit right now. And she said, no, let's find something to do and let's work through it. And if it continues to be a problem, then you're going to have to quit. And she said, I'm just glad to have my husband back. And I'm like, what do you mean? I've always been here. She's like, yeah, you haven't been here since Anthony died. So that was 3 years before that.
Now, did you do it on your own, or did you have to go someplace or?
I went. So I was probably the only person in the history of this rehab to show up sober. So I was sober from that moment on. But it took me 2 weeks to get into like a 30-day program.
Uh-huh.
And so I went to a 30-day program, and I contacted the union and said, hey, got a drug problem. I'm going to go take care of it. They said, we'll talk to the chief of the fire department and get it all taken care of. And the chief of the fire department said, we will allow your leave, and you bring a letter saying you completed that program, and we'll let you return to work. And
wow.
And you did this all voluntarily, so there's no documentation to worry about.
That's great.
And and I've been sober. It'll be 10 years in July.
Wow.
Now, some people who have hang-ups on, does that include like drinking? You don't drink, you don't do anything anymore?
I don't do anything.
Nothing, right?
Nothing.
Need that.
I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't.
Thanks for sharing that, Cap.
Yeah.
That's going to help a lot of people.
Here's the thing that I got to ask, because I'm going to jump forward a little bit. It's not that far. You go back to 30s, and you break your back. So
that's the last. So I leave. I go to 7 truck because that's where I got transferred to.
Right.
After rehab, and then I traded to 30s, and I went back to the 30s. I really wanted a pumper again. I love pumper work.
Right.
I like the nozzle. I traded a guy named Joe Alvarez, he passed away also. But I traded Joe Alvarez and went to 30s for a little bit, and then this comes back. We had to talk about something else real quick. It goes back to Marcus Stubbs. So remember, he didn't bid 13 trucks so I could get it.
Yeah.
He got promoted and got placed somewhere, and he was a firefighter on 30 pumper. He was a driver on 30 pumper, and I bumped him when he got placed. That's why I went to 33s so that he could be the captain on 30 pumper, which he still is. And so he spent his whole career there, and I took care of my classmate because he took care of me. He didn't even ask me. He's like, man, this is too much. You don't have to do this. I said, I got you.
Good for you.
So I got injured a few more times. I've been electrocuted. I've had buildings collapse on me. I've torn my ACL. I've had 3 radio frequency ablations done to my neck, so I don't have any feeling in my neck to prevent headaches. Going through all that, my wife's like, you've got to stop. You can't. This is enough injuries. I'm done with this. Right. So I went to be the district safety officer, and I get up there, and my wife's like, "Do not work on a fire truck. You stay in that chief's buggy and stay out of harm's way." And so one day they hire a guy overtime who just came back from knee surgery, and he's kind of hobbling, or whatever. And the chief's like, "Hey, can you take care of Kelly and let him ride in the buggy, and you hop on the pumper for him for today?" And I'm like, "Yes, Chief, I can take care of my guy." And I hopped on that pumper, and we had my last fire, and my man Jimmy JD.
Show that one, Mike. The last fire.
Yep, got that one right here.
Yeah, last fire. So a lady died on the first floor of that. It was a fatality fire. I was operating on the second floor with a hose line and doing all that. And they were pulling ceiling. We're in overhaul mode. Fire's pretty much done. And I'm standing there, laughing and jack-jawing and doing my thing. And they pull the ceiling down, and the ceiling comes down and hits me. And it kind of, I said, man, well, that hurt, as I was standing back up and thinking about my neck being messed up. And then Jimmy pulled the kitchen cabinets down on me, and that shut me up for a whole 10 seconds. So it was a big deal. But it fractured the thoracic vertebrae up in my upper back. It herniated the discs in my neck really bad and sent me back to have more radio frequency ablations on my neck. And so when the academy spot came open, Jimmy was who was going to beat me out for it. And he pulled his bid and called me up and said, buddy, I'll give that to you. Sorry for breaking your back.
You get an "I told you so" from your wife when she said,
"Oh my gosh,
I told you."
Was still answering to that.
Buggy.
Oh yeah, it was I'm okay, but she's, you better. What do you mean? But when I called her and told her I was on the pumper for the day, she's like, "What?" She was mad right there.
This is what I got to ask you though. Like now you go through all this broken back stuff, and now you're doing it without pain meds, right?
Yeah, I did it all without pain meds.
That is fucking That's
I did an
hardcore.
ACL reconstruction.
I had the ACL done twice. It's painful as a mother. It hurts. I
Yeah,
can't
lots of
imagine
ice.
going through it without any.
I told my wife when I had my shoulder surgery, I told my wife I couldn't even sleep. I could not do anything. I took a half a pill because I didn't want to take it. That's how. And within like, I don't know, 2 hours, it was just numb, right? Like not numb, but it was dull. It dulled it. And I said to her, now I know why people would do this if they're really in pain. Like if you're really in pain and how you could get stuck on that, because it was a godsend. The freaking pain that I was in, I wouldn't wish on my enemy, for God's sakes, you know?
Yeah. Just sitting here through this, my neck is.
I can tell you're fidgeting and like he looks like he's in pain a little bit. Isn't that
this shoulder here? I got a torn rotator cuff, but I'm not having surgery on it because I don't want to go through that. It hurts. I mean, it doesn't hurt that bad. Yeah.
Did you get a fusion, Cap?
What's that?
Did you get fused?
Nope.
Your neck? No.
Nope. I could probably use it though. I also, had a carotid artery dissection too, if you know what that is. I tore the interior of my carotid artery right here where it goes into the skull, and I had a 95% blockage. That's one of the reasons I'm retired. So, and I was in the hospital that day. That's the day Joe Alvarez died. When they called and told me he had a stroke and died. Joe's a year older than I am. And
wow.
We're about now. Is something happen at 2 hour mark that would turn into a pumpkin or what?
You're good.
Well, Cap, let me just ask you real quick. You know, you hear it in sports a lot, guys. Oh, I'm not going to get surgery. I'll just rehab it naturally. Do you do natural rehabs now for your injuries?
Yeah, I did the physical therapy stuff, and now I try to do stretching. I've got one of them canes that you rub on your neck and creams and everything else, and it is what it is. Lots of ibuprofen too. I'm sure that's not good for me.
He's got a Asian chick in the back too that his wife got him. He rubs him down a little bit.
I need one. Hot oil, baby.
He said that, not me, Cap.
I always say there's a lot of stress in the buttocks, a lot of tension in the buttocks.
A lot of stress in the buttocks.
I got a lot of tension in the buttocks. Look at Mike. Oh boy,
I'm used to it by now. I've been here over a year.
This would never take place on the Cologne report. I can tell you that much.
Oh, goodness.
Cap, before we get to the old school tip of the day, there's something else that you want to put out there.
I got 2 lists of names to read.
Go ahead. Read them out.
And some of them are on both lists.
Take a piss, Mike.
There you go. Yeah. It's like as many spots as I got, right? So the guys that really affected my career and helped me out throughout the way, my dad was a big influence. Clay Hugel was my first really good captain that I really liked and was a good guy. Larry Young taught me a lot about firefighting, a lot about pumping. Matt Newton, I worked with Matt Newton I don't know how many different times. Old Deputy Chief Newton, we did a lot of stuff. We used to coach baseball together. I work with that guy. Ryan Harris, my brother-in-law, Rob Kingsbury, Gene Gray. Gene Gray was a crazy guy. We could talk 2 hours on Gene Gray, but he's the captain, broke me in Tilron. He tried to wreck the fire truck. Harold Colonel. Harold Colonel was a legendary firefighter. He's the guy who pointed out to me that, these are people's possessions. Here we are, we fight a fire, we high five, we slap, we do woo. And Harold's like, hey man, don't be too happy. See that guy crying on the curb? His whole life is ruined. And it just put a perspective. I'm a kind of Southland suburb kid running through thinking it's, Candyland. And it's people's lives. So, and then I mentioned Charlie Sanders pushing me across that threshold the first time. And, Trevor Houghton, he's my captain on 11 truck. We did lots of training with Trevor and Charlie and Mike Cash, and they were brothers. So they switched. So I had both of them on Pumper 29, good training guys. And Kay Willie, the wizard. That guy could find a fire, do it. Observation. You'd come into the station and he'd say, oh, you got new tires on your truck. Yeah, we got 54 people in this station. There's 30 some cars out there. What, you're looking at my tires? You know, checking tires. The guy
wizard.
He could pick up on anything. You know, and if something happened, you were in a tight spot, you call that guy, he'd make the problem go away. Is Slick Willie. They also call him Slick Willie. Dave Young, that's kept at 43s. Uncle Dave, I still talk to Dave. He is a character deluxe. Joe Alvarez, who passed away, he was a captain I could call and say, hey, man, this is what I'm dealing with. And he'd call me and tell me he's dealing with, you know. And we just talk about being captains together. Mickey Machete lit that fire under me initially. Deputy Chief, well, now I think he's assistant to the director or something, maybe. John Baker, who took me in after I went to rehab and let me make up to him, you know, because I wasn't good to him before. I was a big jerk to him before, and then I went to work for him. He was my chief when I was on 7 truck. So not only did I work for him, I had to eat with him every day, and that man forgave me. So
Nice.
Gerald Mezakazi, old Mez showed me you could be on fire and be cool all at the same time. That guy was old Mez.
Chill.
See and chill.
Yep. And Paul James and Dennis Flanagan. Them guys showed me I couldn't get fired. The two captains were crazy guys. But the other list I got is these are all guys. These aren't all the guys that have passed away, but these are all the guys that I worked with, that I fought fire with. I got John Parison Sr. and John Parison Jr. just came on the job. I got to teach his class. He was in the class when his dad passed away. So John just passed away. Great driver. John Tlveton was the battalion chief. That's the Clary fire. We didn't even get to talk about that. Great guy. Richard Paul. I said Bill Dady and Danny Rapp was my firefighter too on 2 truck. And Anthony Bruno. Larry Leggio. Bob Wendell. These are all guys that they didn't necessarily die on the job, but they definitely died before they were 55, you know.
Wow.
Well before their time, you know. Joe Alvarez, Jerry Baton, Bruce Stiles, Terrence Crockett, Harold Colonel, Bobby Rocha, Carl Christian, Billy Birmingham, Chris Hudgens, Dwight Pitts, Gyron Watson, Terry Purnell, Kevin Galvin, Gerald LaValle, Chris Ward, Mike Daniel Jr., Tim Byrne, Nico Cruz, and Joe Zach. I mean, it's probably more than the spots I had.
That's a lot of guys, Cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too long a list, man.
Way too long. And you know what? If I had to do it all over again, I'd do it again. So.
I think every one of us would agree with that. Every one of the firemen, no doubt.
It's a lot
hardest work I ever done, and the most enjoyable work I ever done.
I was just going to say that it's the most rewarding, and you know, so much pain too. You know, you lose so many guys, and you know, just a tough, it's a tough life. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's that time right now, Mike. You know what time it is?
It is.
What time is it?
Oh,
Es tiempo para.
Oh, sí, senor. It is. Ready? Is it playing?
Time for
old school
tip
of the day.
Dia.
Take it away.
Right. Am I on? Go.
You're
Come on,
kid.
kid, do it.
So, the short version and the long version, whatever, is bring enough cookies for everybody. Don't be that guy. Don't bring in a pack of cookies and put it in your locker and go eat your cookies or whatever. Bring enough for everybody. That's what when I got on the fire department, I asked my dad, "What do I got to do to be a good firefighter?" And that's what he said: "Bring enough cookies for everybody." I said, "Oh, what about fighting fires?" He said, "I said, bring enough cookies for everybody." Did you hear what I said? What about getting into the fires and doing all that? He said, "I'm not worried about that. You'll figure that out or you won't. But the thing is you got to bring enough cookies for everybody." Don't be a selfish guy. Don't be a one way or a wrong way. You know, they got street signs all over the place for those guys. So here's an example. Guy goes going into work in the morning. He stops by Quick Trip and he grabs himself one of them breakfast burritos, a little pocket wrap things. He comes in and sits at the kitchen table and eats it. You know, like, hey man, I'd really like one of those. You know, like, you know, it'd be better if you stopped by the grocery store and bought a flat of eggs and some cheese, peppers, onions, sausage, and some tortilla shells, and you made it for everybody. You know, learn how to cook or something. I don't know what to tell you, but or bring it in and have somebody else cook it. But always bring enough for everybody. Don't be a one-way selfish guy, and that'll relate to everything. You know, you won't be that way at fire. You won't be that way. If you're not that way with cookies, right? I think that's my old school tip. Don't be selfish.
like it.
That is a great old school tip. Great. Bring enough cookies.
I'll tell you right now, there ain't nothing about like when it comes to the kitchen, if you don't bring stuff in or you don't bring enough for everybody. I mean, you're going to be on the block.
There's no forgiveness there, bro.
There is no forgiveness.
No,
we call it don't lay out short. You know,
don't lay out short.
Don't lay out short. That's a cardinal sin right there.
Yep. Well,
empty pots make the most
great
noise.
show, man. See, it was not. I told you, Roof. What am I gonna say? He said, "What are you gonna say? Come on, great career."
I like everybody's nicknames.
I think I do too, man.
Dig it.
We're like Comanches, you know.
Head.
That's right. We all like Comanches. Big Bear and fucking Little Toe, and everyone's got something.
Shaky hands and
good stuff, man.
Listen, unfortunately, here, Frank Suffin just said.
You've seen this from Frankie Suffin. Let me highlight it. I got it, Coops.
Oh, go ahead, bro.
I got it. You're good.
So he said, line of duty death, Lieutenant Stephen Asaro, 5 bells for the brothers. All right, we're going to give 5 bells for World Trade Center, line of duty, Lieutenant Stephen Anthony Asaro. There you go. Thank you for the information, Frankie. Too many. Yeah, Ruffy, you have any shout outs, brother?
No, I don't.
Oh, are you here on? I heard you say you were going somewhere else.
Yeah, I'll be here Thursday. I'll be here on all the shows.
All right, we got. I wrote down. We have.
Someone, person.
Oh,
human.
Oh, Mo Rodriguez. the Chicago firefighter. We're going around the country, bro. Chicago firefighter. I heard he's a hard charger. So
the Cap was our first Kansas City, right? Or did we have somebody?
Can't believe it.
Kansas City, here I come.
Little Willie Williefield, that song. Yeah, it'll say somebody else when you look it on the internet, but Little Willie Williefield was the original guy who wrote that song.
Willie.
Yeah, a couple white guys bought it from him and stole the rights.
That was son of a bitch.
Sounds about right.
White guys. Always those white guys stealing the rights, man.
Yeah.
Mike, don't trust Coobs, man.
I've already got the restraining order. Don't worry.
I like Little Willie's version better. You can look up Little Willie Williefield, Kansas City. It's a much better version.
Little Willie won't go home. No, not that guy. Different song.
Different guy. I got a
All
shout
right,
out,
we
though.
got Mo Rodriguez, Chicago firefighter.
Mike's got it. What do you got, Mikey?
So I put this up earlier in the queue, and I'm going to put it up now. So on the left-hand side, the tall gentleman with the mustache there is now Captain Andy Bennett. And on the right-hand side, the gentleman without the mustache is Joe Wendland. Joe just got promoted to lieutenant, and Andy just made captain. So this is from the promotion ceremony. 2 awesome guys who I really love working with, so just wanted to shout them out.
Where's
Very
that?
nice.
West Haven?
Congratulations.
Yep, West Haven, Connecticut.
West Haven, doing it with their red helmets. Doing it.
Get ready for the snow.
I'm out of the red. Yeah, be careful
remind me.
tomorrow. Yep. Snow day for my kids. You too, Roof, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Sleep a little late. Snow day for Mike, too. Cap, you always got a snow day, right?
No, it's like 60.
Is it?
Go to the batting cages.
Must be
Nice.
nice.
Softball.
Shit. But you get snow day, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 All right.
Kind of
Well,
mild, though.
When
You
I
gotta
fly out to
thank,
Kansas
This is Kansas reporting.
you got to thank that the young Mr. Nuddle. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yep. He hooked us up together, and now
Nuts Hedge. That's his nickname.
What is it?
Nuts Hedge.
Oh, Nuts Hedge?
Yeah.
Better than Nut Bag. You know,
Yeah.
Nut Bag. Yeah. All right, guys. So we'll see you on Thursday night. Until then, stay low, go.
All right, everybody. Thanks again, Cap. We'll see you at the big one, everybody.
On behalf of Lou Frano, Kevin Kubler, and Captain Nading, I'm Mike Cologne. We will see you next time. Stay salty, my friends.